Hi, welcome back to Yerushalmi Terumot. Now we're talking about payments of the Zar, a Yisrael who eats Truma by mistake. So you can pay back. So if you eat Truma, you have to make payments from min al she'ena mina. So you eat Truma b'shogeg, you can pay the Karen or the Chomesh from Papa Chulin from one type. You have to pay from a better min than the fruit that was eaten. Rabbi Kiva argues, says, no. You only pay the Karen the Chomesh from the Chulin, from Peres Chulin. You can't use another min, you have to use the type of fruit that you ate. You have to pay Peres Chulin from that min which you ate. Therefore, if you ate kishurin like courgettes and things of Truma just before Shemitah, so the 6th year, and then afterwards you want to pay the Cohen Tashlumei Truma, now there's no kishurin anymore left. So since you have to pay the Cohen from the same min that you ate, you'll have to pay for the year after Shemitah, you'll pay from them. Now the two Talmid Tanaim learned their dinim from the same pasuk. From where Rabbi Lezer found a reason to be lenient, so you can pay with other minim, Misham, Rabbi Kiva Machmir, Rabbi Kiva was strict. Shenema says, V'nasan l'kodesh ha'kodesh, you give the kohen, whatever you give him becomes holy, which is truma, you're allowed to pay kol shuvroi lasses kodesh, anything which is fitting to become truma, even if it's another min from Peres truma that you ate. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Kiva says, V'nasan l'kodesh ha'kodesh, so we learn you have to pay from that min, kodesh ha'achal, of that truma type which you ate, of that min, that's what you have to use, and not something else. Okay? Remember, the fruit that you give the Cohen, that chulin, becomes kedushas truma. Right? In fact, there's actually a discussion about what about bikurim. What happens? We're going to come to bikurim here now.
But we're just saying yesterday also the issue of the value.
Yeah, we spoke about value as well. The value and quantity and so on. And is it lefi? There's a mahos tanoim in Psachim. Is it according to, when you're paying back truma, is it according to the quantity of what you ate, or is it according to the value of what you ate? Our Mishnah seems to imply the first third. If it's according to quantity, then by you paying with other pears which are better quality, he's getting pears meshubach, like better fruit, like the truma which was worse quality what was eaten. If it's according to value, then there's no difference if you pay better fruit or worse fruit. It's the same value. Okay? Some say there's no reason for this. Even if you're going to tell me you pay according to value, there's still a te'eles, you should still give better quality fruit. Because people want to buy fruit like this, the Cohen can sell them more easily. Okay. We are Haketzad. What Rabbi Lezer said, when you pay the Cohen, you pay Truma, one min for another min. But it's got to be a min meshubach, it's got to be a bit better quality. So we give examples. Haketzad. Acha yerek, vegetables of Truma you ate by mistake. The shilem, the groves, you pay dried figs of chulin, which are more important than the vegetable. Or groigos, you ate truma, dried dates, b'shogeg, b'shilem, or dried figs, and b'shilem tamarim, you pay dates of chulin, which are more significant. Tava lo bracha, he will get a blessing. Now, just like Yisrael who eats truma b'shogeg has to pay a principal and a fifth, also a zar who eats bikurim b'shogeg also has to pay a keren, the principal, and a fifth, with chulin fruit. Now, how does this apply in a case where you ate bikurim b'shogeg? Right, what does Rabbi Lezer say in this situation? Let's see. Can you pay with another min or not? Achal bikurim, if you ate bikurim by mistake, according to Rabbi Lezer, you can use another min, providing it's better. Ma'al meshalem. So what's called a better min than this fruit? So Rabbi Lezer talking about bikurim applies in the following situations. If you ate grapes of bikurim, b'shogeg, b'shalem yayin, you can pay wine. Wine is more significant than grapes. And zaysim, if you ate olives of bikurim, b'shalem shemen, you can pay oil. Because olive oil is more significant than olives. Okay? The truth is, wine and oil are not really fitting for bikurim. Mishnah Chala says. I mean, how can you pay tashlumei bikurim with wine and oil? So I bring a raya. Tashlumei bikurim is like truma only. They don't become bikurim. Since Truma applies to wine and oil, you can use it to make these payments. Others push away that raya. Based on Yerushalmi there, which says, if you gather grapes or olives to make them into a drink, they are fitting for Bikurim, they have Kedushas Bikurim. Therefore, we can talk about a case in this situation that you gathered it for that purpose. I mean, even if you're going to tell me that Bikurim becomes Bikurim, you're still allowed to pay with wine and oil. Alright, so what have we got here? So, Achal Chala. Now, what about someone ate Truma B'Shogeg, you have to pay the principal and the fifth, B'Chulin. Now, if you ate Chala, which is separated to give to the Cohen, if you ate that B'Shogeg, you have to pay the Cohen, Karen B'Chomesh B'Chulin. Now, what about you ate Chala B'Shogeg? According to Rabbi Akiva, who says you should always pay from the same min, right? And you ate Chala by mistake. So, Achal Chala, right? The Chala which is separated for the Cohen. If you went and ate that by mistake. Now, according to Rabbi Akiva, you have to pay from the same min. So, can you pay from grain which has not yet reached a third in its ripe stages? Produce even less than a third grown are obligated in challah. So since challah, if you ate challah from grain which has reached a third of its growth, you cannot pay back with grain which has not reached a third of its growth. We consider something else. Then according to Rabbi Akiva, who holds you can't pay with another min, or maybe it's still considered the same thing, and you can pay with grain which has not reached a third of its growth. So let's see. Achal Bikurim. What about, it's similar to, let's say you ate Bikurim, B'Shogeg, according to Rabbi Akiva, who says you have to pay with the same min. Can you pay the Cohen with things still stuck to the ground, still growing? Shekena Bikurim Nignin. It's Chal L'Shem Bikurim, even B'Mechuv L'Karka, on things connected to the ground. Right? Since you ate Bikurim from fruit which is detached, maybe you can't pay with fruit which is still connected. Right? It's like another min. According to Rabbi Akiva, you can't do it. Or maybe it's still considered the same min, right? And therefore you can pay even with fruit which is still connected to the ground. Very good question. We have no answer. This is also raya, it seems, that the fruit that you pay for Bikurim becomes Bikurim. So, can you use fruit which is Mechub or not? If you're going to tell me the fruit payments for Bikurim don't become Bikurim, they just got a din like Truma, then how can you pay Peres Mechuborim, fruit which is still connected to the ground? That's not fitting to be Truma. You can't have Truma while it's still growing. Right? It seems to be a raya. Some say the Gemara's question is, if these payments become Chala or Bikurim, and you can pay with grain which has not reached the third, or connected to the ground, or it doesn't become Chala or Bikurim, it's just sort of in Truma, and therefore you can't pay with these methods. Alright. Now we learned, according to Rabbi Akiva, if you ate, let's say, cucumbers of Truma of Erev Shvius, B'Shogeg, you've got to wait till after Shemitah finishes to provide the Kishurin to give them back. Yamti the Kishurin Shal Motzai Shvius and pay them to the Cohen. Reb Avim Sherabanan Taman, the name of the Chachamim over there in Babel. So Samaris tells me, She'im Shalmin, you cannot pay Truma, right, for fruit of Truma of Eretz Yisrael B'Shogeg mi Peres Chutz La'aretz. You can't use food from abroad to pay back. Right? If you could pay from abroad, why would we say, well, if you Kishurin on Truma, you've got to wait till after Shemitah? You can go and pay with the Kishurin coming from abroad. The fact that the Mishnah doesn't suggest that, it says you have to wait till Shemitah finishes, you see, you can't pay from Peres of Chutz La'aretz on behalf of eating fruit of Truma of Eretz Yisrael. Because if you're going to tell me that you can pay Tashlumei Truma from Peres of Chutz La'aretz, still, I understand why you have to wait till Motzai Shvius and pay with that. You can't use the stuff from abroad. Why? You must listen. And Mishnah talking about a time where Rebbe did not allow you to bring produce from Chutz La'aretz into Eretz Yisrael. Before he allowed it, right? You didn't have food of outside Eretz Yisrael coming into Eretz Yisrael. Why was the Gzerah? The Gzerah was you didn't want mud. We didn't offer from Eretz Ha'amim coming into Eretz Yisrael, which might include graves and who knows what, right? So the Gzerah not to bring produce from Chutz La'aretz. So this might be before it was allowed. Therefore, the Mishnah Pascha that you have to wait till it grows again after the Shemitah year. Right? As I said, they forbade it from the beginning. They were worried they'll be stuck to the roots of earth from Chutz La'aretz, which is Tameh, and there'll be a lot more Tumah in Eretz Yisrael. And some learn Chashash there might be bones and so on. Later on, Rebbe allowed you to bring vegetables from Chutz La'aretz. Okay? Now, Lai Amar, now from Rebbe Kiva we can learn, you can't pay Truma from Kishuin of Shvius. What about, does all Shvius we say this? Lai Amar, Rebbe Kiva only didn't say, you can't pay Truma of Shvius, and a Kishuin. Dava Shu Peras Isur, which is Peras Shvius, also to eat, because it's a Tzvichin, so you can't use it to pay a Kain, Tashlumi Truma. But what about Peres Shvius, which are permitted to be eaten? There's no problem with Svichin, like fruits of a tree. Can you use them to pay your Tashlumim to the Cohen? The Gemara says, lie. No, even Peres Shvius, which you can eat, you cannot use as payments for Truma. If you're going to tell me you're allowed to pay with them, then what's the difference with someone doing business with Shvita produce, or their money? So just like you can't do business with Shvita produce or with their value, you cannot pay back payments for Truma with Peres of Shvius. Okay, you can't do business with Shvius. It says, we learn la'achla is for eating and not for sale, not for business dealings. Okay. There's another reason why you can't pay with Truma. You can't pay back with Shvius. Why? Because Shvius is Hefka. You cannot pay back Truma with Hefka. It was never fitting to be Truma or Maser. And we said, what you pay back has to have gone through a stage where it could have become Truma or Maser. Hefka could never become Truma or Maser, right? It's Hefka. There's no din Truma or Maser on Hefka. That's another reason why you can't use it. Okay? Sometimes even the Chachamim agree to that. And even if you say the Chachamim don't agree, that's only Peres which were fitting once to be Truma Masa. Peres Shvius were never fitting to be Truma Masa. Could be even according to the Chachamim, you cannot use it to pay back Truma with it. Okay, Hadron Alach. Ha'echel Truma of Shoigeg. We finished the 6th pair. Okay. Now we come to payments that a Zar who is Chayiv, if he eats Truma b'Shogeg, what does he pay if he ate it b'Mezid? What does he do? Can he have a kapara? Is there a solution for someone who eats Truma b'Mezid? Ha'aychel Truma b'Mezid, Meshalev is a Karen. Yes, you still pay the principal, but Einu Sham Sachar, you don't pay the fifth. Right, the fifth is a kapara. This guy doesn't get a kapara for what he's done. Hatashlumin, the payments for the principal is Cholin, doesn't become Truma. And in Rasa Kain Limcha Moichel, if the Cohen wants to say I don't need it, he can do so. It's just a monetary obligation, and any person can give up on any monetary obligation that he's entitled to. Ha'echel Truma Mezid, one who eats Truma intentionally, you still have to pay the Cohen. Now, we're going to have a whole discussion. It's like a couple of blood, this sugya now, which for Yerushalmi is quite rare, right? But it's a long discussion. And we're going to bring a ride to our Mishnah. We start off with like this. We have a contradiction. Taman Tanina. We have learnt in Masechet Makkos. Elu Hein Halokim. The following are people who get Malkus. People who get Malkus for their sins. And one is one who's an Erva with his Achoisai. Right? V'Hatanina. Now we've learnt in a Mishnah elsewhere. So we've got one case of a Baal Achoisai that he gets Malkus. V'Hatanina, we've also learnt elsewhere, Elo Naros, there are various Naros who have a Knas. The one who's an Oines, right, Oines anyway, has to pay the father the Knas of 50 shekel, right? And it says over there that there's one of the list, there's a whole list. One of them is a Baal Achoisai. So on the one hand we've learned there's Malkus, on the other hand we've learned there's a Knas. Okay? So we've got to understand this contradiction between them. Right? The Nara, of course, is 12 years old. It's called Nara for 6 months. After that is Begeres. Okay? So what have we got here? We've got a case where there's Malkus, and we've got a case where there's a Knas. Now, so how do we understand the contradiction? So Abal Achoisa, is it Malkus or is it Knas? So in Malkus, Atoma, we say Loike, he gets Malkus. But Hacha, in Subas, we say Atoma, Vashala, and he pays a Knas. Now, how can it come? That can't be. You can't get malchus and have to pay money at the same time. So we have a contradiction. So Rabbi Yochanan, let's start with Masechet. The two Mishnahs here are two different cases. In history, if they warned him first, he'll get malchus on this act, then he gets malchus. Right? If they warned him. And then even if his sister was a nara, he still wouldn't pay the knas. You don't get malchus and pay on the same maisa.
So that's a kapara.
But
that's a kapara.
Which one?
Like malchus.
Malchus, yeah, sure.
Right? There's no like in the moment.
Yeah. So that's a kapara, yeah, sure. But it's a punishment for what he's done. In Lo Yisrael is they didn't warn him, then there's no malchus. So therefore, Mashalim then he has to pay the knas. The Mishnah learns in Sugas. So there's no stira. So if they warned him, he gets the knas. If they don't warn him, he gets the knas. So Rabbi Yochanan wanted to say, but malchus, if you're obligated, if you're in a situation where you could get malchus, b'tashlumin, and make payments, then the din is, like you just get the malchus, you don't have to pay the money. So he says if they warned him, you just get the malchus. Okay? That's what we learned from Rabbi Yochanan. But if we warn him, first when he gets malchus. They warn him, he gets malchus. If they don't warn him, that's when he pays. The Gemara asks, this person should get malchus because the Avera he did. Why not pay the knas as well? That's it, because there's oinus here, there's balachos, and there's oinus. So how do we know he doesn't get two punishments? So the Gemara answers, the malchus which the Torah says, it says, V'pilu hashofet v'kol, kidei rishase, for his wickedness, it's in singular, risha achas tatzmachai, we give him punishment for one act of wickedness, v'ein tatzmachai v'shtei v'shiyos. We cannot obligate him with two punishments on one act. Okay? So therefore we'll give him malchus, he won't have to pay. Now it's all very well, you can't get two punishments together. But how do you know you get the malchus? How do you know you get that one? Why not pay and not get the malchus? Okay? Why not say you pay and not get malchus? So the Gemara answers, one thing's clear, the pasuk is talking about someone who really should get two punishments, malchus and payments. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to tell you that you just get one punishment. And it says clearly, V'pilu hashofet, v'kol lefanav, they bring him down and they hit him, for his wickedness to the number. If he did a maisa which is fitting to get lashes and payments, but the punishment that he actually gets is the lashes. Right, that's the punishment he gets. Rishasa is lashon yachid, he only gets one punishment. And we're talking about a case where the Avera he did, really he should get two. Malchus and Tashlumin. But the Torah says he only gets one. So we see that the punishment the Torah chooses to give him is Malchus. On this situation it says, V'pilu hashofet, right? V'kol lefanav. This is what we do to him. We could give him two, we choose this one. Now Rabbi Yochanan said, if we didn't warn him, before we did the Avera, he won't get lashes, then he has to pay the money. So there is another opinion. He says, even if they didn't warn him, he still doesn't have to pay.
What, he get lashes or nothing?
Nothing. They didn't warn him, and he still doesn't have to pay. Had they warned him, he would get lashes. Therefore it's enough. Now they didn't warn him, you still don't have to pay. You find that in Sanhedrin, in Bavli. We find the idea where, say someone has Chaim Misa, and even though we couldn't give the Misa, but it was fitting to get Chaim Misa, yeah? He's not going to start making payments. We find that elsewhere, right? The same idea Rish Lakish is telling us. Even if they didn't warn him, he doesn't have to pay, because had they warned him, he would get lashes. So since on this action, he is obligated really with lashes, had they warned him, and he wouldn't have to pay any money, therefore he's passer from Mominus in every situation, even if the pearl is not going to get the lashes, because they didn't warn him for whatever reason. That's what Rish Lakish wants to say. Masnisa pliga. Now our Mishnah, which we brought earlier on, seems to argue pliga Rish Lakish. Because the Mishnah says, Elo naras sheyesh lehem knas. These are the naras who have a knas, and it includes the case someone who's his sister. The Elo history boy, if they'd warned him beforehand to get malchus, because this Abala Chosai, Elo like it, would he not get lashes? Right? According to Rish Lakish, it should be fitting, he shouldn't pay the knas, even in the case where he didn't warn him. because they could have warned him, he would have got Malchus, that should say that you don't get the Knas at all. And he doesn't say that. Why does the Mishnah say no? He pays the Knas. So he doesn't say, he could have been warned and therefore doesn't pay the Knas. No, he has to pay the Knas. So that goes against... What?
You're not saying he's honest.
We're saying, one's a rapist, right?
Yeah, you're saying he's honest.
No, we're saying he is an honest. He's done an Avera, right?
Yeah.
And he has to pay a Knas. But according to Rish Lakish, because if he was warned, he would get lashes, therefore now that he wasn't warned, he shouldn't have to pay anything. That's what Rish Lakish said. The Mishnah doesn't say that. The Mishnah says, look, this case, he gets lashes. This case, he pays a Knas. So there's more answers. Pass on Rish Lakish. How will Rish Lakish explain this? He'll say the Mishnah is the view of Rameh. Rameh. So according to one Tana, Rameh said, like a Mishalem. You know what? You can usually get lashes and pay for the same Avera. You could get two punishments. Right? You can learn from different psukim. He holds, Eidim Zoidmin, they give sheker with mominus. They get lashes, and they also pay if they spoke against someone, cause someone to lose money. Right? Right? So therefore, the Mayor holds they can get two punishments. Tashlumin and Malchus. Each one is learned from a separate pasuk. So Rameh will hold, you get lashes for one pasuk, and then you pay the knas from Manasseh and Yishashaycha, which is another pasuk. Yeah? So Rameh will say you can have two. So again, one part of the Mishnah spoke about Malchus, one part spoke about knas. According to Rameh, you can have two. To Rameh says you can get lashes and pay for the same Avera. However, according to the Chachamim, who argue, they say no, you can't get lashes and pay. So therefore, the Oides HaChosa, he's not going to pay a knas at all, even if they never warned him. And that's what Shlokish holds. Because they could have warned him, he would have got lashes. Even though they didn't warn him, he will not pay. Now we talk about machlokes between Rameh and the Chachamim. Rameh b'shem Shlokish. Min Hamoisi Shemra. Where did Rameh learn his din? You can have two punishments. From Hamoisi Shemra, one who speaks bad about his wife, Lama Rameh. Rameh learns his din. You can get Malchus and pay for the same Avera. He says, Va'anshu, so he says she was Mizana, etc. Va'anshu, so they punish him 100 kesef. That's Mammon, that's Mammonus. Before that it says, they take the man, the Yisro, and they chastise him. That's Malchus. So you see the husband can get Malchus and payments for the same action. So Rameh learns, who did any situation where a person is chayav two onshim, he can get both punishments. Rabbanan and the Chachamim who argue Rameh, they say, L'chidush hayatsa Moisi Shemra. Moisi Shemra is unique. It's not included in the other dinim of other Avera. We find a chidush which is more chabor. Because the davar sheyotz v'chidush is something so unusual, you cannot apply it to anywhere else. It's right? We'll see why it's a chidush. But Moisi Shemra is very unusual. Now what is the chidush Moisi Shemra? I hear you ask. Anyone? No? Lefi shebechal makayim. In every other place, in other mischayev, you don't get a punishment of avera done b'dibura with your speech. They can Moisi Shemra adam mischayev b'dibura. You're liable with your speech. V'shem she'ein lemeidim mimenu. And just like you cannot learn from Moisi Shemra l'davar achet to punish someone on any other avera done through speech. Kach ein lemeidim mimenu lo le'anshim lo le'makas. So also you can't learn not for punishments and not for makas. You can't tell me other cases you can get lashes and pay up for the same avera. Right? It's all very well. This din, your dibur, is a chumrah with Moisi Shemra alone. You cannot apply it to other averas. So we see that the Torah is machmir Moisi Shemra more than other averas. So if we find a chumrah, another chumrah, you'll have two punishments. We can say that's a chumrah miyuchedes. The Torah is machmir. You cannot apply it to other averas, right? Only Moisi Shemra and nothing else. Okay. We do find, as I said, we find other examples where people are punished for speech, and that's Eidim Zoidmin, right? Eidim Sheker, false evidence. So what's the chiddush Moisi Shemra? He says the punishment of Eidim Zoidmin is not such a chiddush. They cause someone to lose money, therefore it's like an action. Right? Moisi Shemra and his wife, there's no outcomes in din. she'll be punished as thus only based on the Eidos of Eidim. Okay, let's carry on. Now, when one comes back to the dinner of Yochanan, but you don't get two punishments on one Avera, and we're going to have a stira from something else that he said. Because like Cain, Amr Bavo, didn't Bavo say B'Shem Rav Yochanan, B'Mezid, B'Chelev, or Shaygeg B'Korban. Okay, a person eats forbidden fat. Not very good. And he knew it's forbidden fat, and he ate it. But he did not know he'll have to bring a chatos for it. He knows he's eating chelev, and chelev, forbidden fats are forbidden. He knows that. He did not know you have to bring a chatos for this avera if you do it b'shogeg. Master b'over loika. So Rav Yochanan says, well, if they warned him, don't eat the fat. If you eat it, you get lashes. And he ate it. He gets lashes. The issur was b'mezid. The actual avera was b'mezid. He knew it was wrong. Nevertheless, maybe carbon. He brings a chatos. He was shaygeg as far as the chatos. He never knew it was so bad that you have to bring a sacrifice, huh?
As well as not malchus.
Yeah. So he'll get malchus. They warn him he'll get lashes. And that was mazid. He gets lashes for that. And he also brings a carbon because he was shaygeg as far as the carbon. He never knew, wow, it's so humble, you'll bring a carbon for it. So you see, according to Rav Yochanan, a person can get two punishments on one avera. But alright, you can bring in lashes and you can bring a carbon. But so here as well, the Einus is Achaisai, Yield Kev Yishalem, let him get lashes and let him pay up. To Rabbi Ba'achia, B'Shem Rishmul Bar Yitzchok, he says not the same. Really, you don't get two punishments for one avera. Because here, there is a limitation. He says like this. Shnei dvarim Mesurim leBeisin, two punishments which are given to the courts to carry out. You can't ask him, you can only ask him to do one. Yatsa davashu masul l'shamayim, as opposed to a case where one of the punishments is in the hands of heaven and not the Beisin, then you have to pay two. In this case, it's chiyuv korban. Right? Chiyuv korban is not in Beisin's hands. Right? Bringing a korban is in Hashem's hands. Therefore, even though he's not going to get lashes and pay, you can get lashes and bring a korban. You hear that? That bringing a korban is separate. Bringing a korban is not through the hands of the Beis Din. So you might not get lashes and pay, but you'll get lashes and bring a korban. Now, Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish argue about what about a case where he's not going to get malchus, and I very did. Let's say he didn't warn him. Does he have to pay the money? We've spoken about this already. Does he have to pay the money as a result of the avera? So I can't avoid him. Everyone agrees. Shein mominates on misa. You definitely don't have to pay money if there's an avera which has a chiyuv misa there. Even if they didn't warn him, so they're not going to kill him. We spoke about that before. They're not going to kill him. He still doesn't pay money. It says, "Make behema yishalamena." If you hit an animal, you pay. Make adam yuma. So you kill a person, the person dies. And from the two pasukim, things next to each other, we darshan ma. When you hit an animal, there's no difference between by mistake, intentional. We pass these din to obligate him to pay. In both cases, you injure an animal, you have to pay, whether it's by mistake or not. So therefore, we say there's a mamatzinu, or what more? Mamatzinu, adam. When you hit a person, no difference shogeg. In both cases, we will exempt him from paying. Because we can kill him, we could kill him, lift time, we will patter him from money. So even if you hit someone b'shogeg, so he's not going to be killed. But he won't pay money because of that hitting. But so where are they arguing with Yochanan Shlagish? But Mammon Eitzel Makas. Right, there's monetary obligations together with lashes. And that's the argument. Rabbi Yochanan said, look, you don't pay money things when there's chiyuv misa, even if he's not going to be put to death, as we said. But yesh mammon eitzel makas. There is a chiyuv to pay money with lashes if they're not giving him the lashes, because there's no reason to exempt him. And Rish Lakish says, "Kashem she'ein mammon eitzel misa." Just like there's no death with lashes, so there's no money with death. So also he's not, even if it's a case where the person's not killed, there's no money to pay when there's a punishment of lashes, even if they're not actually giving him the lashes. Okay? So who says what? Rabbi Yochanan says there's no mamona seitzah misa, but there is with lashes. And Rish Lakish says no. Even with lashes, there's no mamona together with lashes. Rav Imi Bablaya, B'Shem Rabbanan Tamar, Imi Babli, said the name of the Chacham from Baba. Tamar Rish Lakish. What's the reason for Rish Lakish to exempt Malchus, Shogin, that they don't have to pay any money, right? It's because of Gzer Shava, between the words Russia. Nema Russia B'Chiyabe Bisas. We have the word wicked with people put to death by the basement. Right? Don't take money to exempt them from death. Hashem Russia Lamos, the Pasuk says. But Nema Russia B'Chiyabe Malchus. We find a reference to Russia with those who get lashes. Just like Ma Russia Shenem B'Chiyabe Misas, just like the death penalty. Ein Mammon Eitzel Misa. There's no money when it comes to death. And even if there's no death, there's still no money. So even if he's not killed, there's still no money. You can learn that from Makah and Makah. So when it comes to lashes and he's called a Russia, there's no chiyuv to pay Mammon Eitzel Makas. There's no money to pay. Right? Even if we don't actually give him the lashes, there is no money to pay. Now the Gemara brought a sira between the Mishnah Makas, which says a person with achoseh gets lashes, and the Mishnah Ksubas, which says a person's oinus, he pays a knas. Rabbi Yochanan gave one answer. The Gemara gave a yishuv, according to the view of Rish Lakish. Now the Gemara gives a third interpretation to understand the contradiction. Is there lashes, or is there malchus, or is there money? He says, Kan, Mishnah Ksubas, it depends what age the girl is. Is she a nara or begaris? Benara. So the Mishnah Ksubas is talking about where the girl is the nara. Kan the begaris. But in malchus, where there's lashes, is achose begaris. And the difference is based on the Mishnah Ksubas like this. Nara, yesh lo knas. So Nara, there is a schus, she gets the knas if anything happens. Ve'ein lo mecha. The father can't sell her to be an Omayvriya, right? She's 12, but there is a knas. But there's no, the father can't sell her. By Geres, when she's 12 and a half, ein la lo mecha. Of course the father can't sell her. But lo knas. Nor is there any schus to get anything if anything happens to her. So in the case of Ksubas, where a person was Zaynis and Chosei Hanara, the Mishnah says you pay the knas, and you don't get lashes. Because now she's already a Nara, there is a knas. But there's no lashes. And the case in Malchus is by Geres, there's no knas. Therefore the Mishnah says he gets Malchus because of Abba Lachosei. Okay, so it depends what age. So 12 and a half is Malchus, and 12 is a knas. The other word says, even a Begeres, there's still other embarrassments and so on caused to her. So the question comes back, why does the Mishnah say Malchus, you get Malchus? Even it's all very well, Achosei is Begeres, you don't pay a knas, but you have to pay other tishlumin, other damages. Therefore that's a reason to pass it from Malchus, because of all these other payments he has to make. Rabbanan, the Kissin, Armin, the Chacham, and Kishman, they said, Tifto, explain the case, Shapitata, he seduced her, Begeres, it wasn't Inus, or he was Inus, but Shemachala lie. She forgave him for any payments. In this situation, he's not going to pay for Boshas Ubagam because she's forgiven him, and therefore he will get Malchus. Now the Gemara concludes from the Yishuv Banas Ba'oshia on his view, Ba'achil Malchus Tashlumin together. Some are Nasa Ba'oshia. So what is Nasa Ba'oshia as a view? He holds like this. But Malchus, where it's fitting to get Malchus for Tashlumin, Malchus and payments, Meshalem, you pay, but Ein Aloiken, you don't get Malchus. So he learned the Mishnah in Malchus is talking about you get Malchus. It's talking about a case where there's no mominus. Right, she's 12 and a half. There's no mominus. Therefore you get Malchus. Now, the Yil Kavi Yishale, why can you not get lashes and pay up as well? How does he know you don't get two punishments? So again, the passage we brought before, with Malchus, the Torah says, Yipila Shofet, etc., Kedei Vishoso for his wickedness, Risha Achasat Mechayva, we can obligate him with one punishment, Viad Mechayva Shtei Rishus, we cannot give him two. Okay? So he says here, the Maskana is that Nosan Ba'ishya holds the opposite of Rabbi Yochanan, Rishon ben Lakish. They hold, if there's Malchus and Tashlumin, you get the Malchus, and you don't pay. And according to Rish Lakish, even if you don't get the Malchus, you still don't pay. Nosan Ba'ishya holds, you pay, and you don't get the Malchus. Okay? Now the Gemara comes back and asks, it's all very well, we can't give two punishments together. Now how does he know you have to pay the money side of things? Right, Nosan Ba'ishya holds Mashalem, right? You pay, but you don't get lashes. How does he know it's that way around? Why not get lashes and not pay? So he learns it min Eidim Zomin, from Eidim who give false witness. Ma Eidim Zomin, just like they give lies to obligate someone to money in Mishalmin, they pay the amount they want the person to lose. Right? They ain't unlike it. They don't get Malchus for the Avera of Eidos Sheker. They just pay the money they cause someone to lose. So here as well, in every situation where there's Tashlumin, like in case of A'inas, the Chaisa, etc., where there's a momentous obligation, Meshalem, you should pay up, but Eina Loiker, he doesn't get lashes. Right? This is like a more binyan av. We learn one din, and we can say it applies to similar dinim. So he's learning from Eidim Zomin, a general din. You do an Avera, and there's Malchus and payments, you pay and you don't get Malchus. Just like Eidim Zomin, in the case of Mominus, they pay and they don't get Malchus. Okay? Right. Now another sugya. Rabbi said, I told you it's a big sugya, right? We're still in the sugya, same sugya. You don't get this in Yerushalmi anywhere else, right? Hardly ever. When do you remember sugya going 2 pages? When do you remember that? Now another source for the din of Nosan Ba'ishya, that if you have money and lashes, you pay the money and not the lashes. Amr Nosan, Tamid and Nosan Ba'ishya, the reason for the source for him, you give him his punishment. Rishah side, right? In singular. When he fulfills his hitting, he obligates, he gets his wickedness. He's not high of an extra punishment. To exclude this person, even if they hit him, Omer will say, look, pay up. Amoid, right, stop the lashes, the shadow and pay up. So the lashes can't patter him from a momentous obligation to someone else. Despite the fact that the lashes, he still needs to pay, right? Apart from the lashes, he'll have to pay. So therefore what? 1 second. He basically won't get lashes because he has to pay. The lashes won't finish the job, right? He'll still have to pay. So therefore he pays. That's what he's saying here. Right. Yes, even if they gave him lashes, it wouldn't be enough. So since it's not enough, therefore he has to pay. Okay. Now Rish Lakish paskened that if you do an avera where there's malchus, you don't have to pay any money which is created at that time, even if they didn't warn him, and so he's not getting lashes. Now Snisa Pliga al Rish Lakish, and we seem to find a Mishnah arguing with Rish Lakish. V'otanina, we've learned if you ate truma by mistake, you have to pay keren b'chomesh. If you ate truma b'mezid, which was in our Mishnah, remember our Mishnah we had today? If you ate truma b'mezid, you get lashes. You're over on the law of Chazal Eichel Kodesh. So according to Rish Lakish, you shouldn't have to pay any money for the truma, even if you ate it b'shogeg. You hear that? Just like when you get lashes, and you don't get the lashes, you don't pay. So here, truma, if you ate it b'shogeg, well, if you should be potter for paying, even if you ate it b'shogeg. So the Gemara answers, Pasala, he'll explain the Mishnah is like the view of Rav Meir. Rav Meir says you can get everything. But Rav Meir, Amar, Leiker, Meshalem, for the same Avera, you can have 2 punishments. According to Rav Meir, you do an Avera b'mezid, you get lashes, you still have to pay. And definitely you ate b'shogeg, you don't get lashes, you have to pay. Right? That which Rish Lakish said, you're potter from paying an Avera which has malchus, is only according to the Chachamim who argue on Rav Meir. Now the Gemara earlier on brought 3 opinions. We brought Rav Yochanan, Rish Lakish, Nosan Ba'ishya. What punishment do we give if you've done an Avera which has got Chiyuv Mominus and Malchus? So now the Gemara comes back and see what we're going to see in our Mishnah. How we explain our Mishnah according to these 3 opinions. We've learnt in our Mishnah. You ate it intentionally. What's the din? You pay the keren. According to Nasan Barisha, Du Rama, who said, if you have lashes and money, you pay up. B'shalem ve'ein aloke. That fits in exactly. Nicha, I understand. You eat b'mezid, you pay the money. You don't get lashes, but you pay the money. According to Rav Yochanan, Du Rama, who said in his Rabbi, if they warned him, then there's lashes. Okay. In Lois Rabbi, if they didn't warn him, b'shalem, you pay. So Pastor, he will explain the Mishnah where you ate truma b'mezid, but you didn't get warned. But that's right, you were never warned for lashes. So you won't get lashes, even though it's mezid. So that's why you have to pay. But Adatin Rish Lakish, according to Rish Lakish, Lo Shani has no difference. He mezid, he shogeg, he hisrubai. When they warned him, he lo hisrubai. Or they didn't warn him, all got the same din. You are parted from paying money because it was created at a time when you did an Avera. So if you did the Avera b'mezid, you get lashes. Even though you didn't do it b'mezid, the lashes, there's no lashes, you shouldn't have to pay. So why does the Mishnah say if you eat truma b'mezid, you have to pay money? According to Rish Lakish, you shouldn't have to. So the Gemara answers, so Rish Lakish, he wants to say that our Mishnah is like the view of Rameir. Remember Rameir? Rameir always said you can pay and get lashes and get all the punishments in the world. So our Mishnah is again Rameir. Do Amar Rameir like him Shalom? Yeah, you can get 2 punishments for the same thing. Right? Rish Lakish, who said you're patur, that's like the Chachamim who argue on Rameir. Amar Rabbi Chimna, Kumi Rabbana. Rabbi Chimna said in front of Rabbana, the in Yisbar Rish Lakish become as he said Rameir. If you want to tell me all the Mishnahs, it's all Rameir. And the Chachamim argue, Kroya to Rameir. Are you going to tell me the Psukim are like Rameir only? That can't be. Everyone has to fit in with the Psukim. Well, I can see it says, V'ishki Kodesh Bishgaga. If you eat Kodesh Bishgaga, you have to add a fifth and give the Kodesh. You see clearly. If you eat Truma B'Shogeg, you pay Keren B'Chomesh. What will Rish Lakish say on this? How can he obligate you to pay money on Shogeg, where if you did it Mazid, there's lashes? So according to him, because if Mazid lashes, then Shogeg, you shouldn't have to pay any money. The one accepts the answer and gives another reason why you pay Truma B'Shogeg according to Rish Lakish. Ella, he says, Mitzvah Sabra Rish Lakish holds. Sha'chomesh. When you pay a fifth for eating truma, that is carbon. That's instead of a carbon. It's not a monetary obligation, it's a kapara. Therefore you have to pay in a case where you ate it with shogeg. Even though mezid, there's malchus, shogeg, you pay the fifth, there's carbon. That's all very well. That's on the chomesh. Telling me the fifth is a carbon. I get that. He says, I feel a yisba chomesh carbon. Okay, it's all very well, the fifth is a carbon. But what's the principle? Keren, carbon. Do you honestly think the principle is a carbon? That can't be. So the question comes back. Why one of these truma b'shogeg you pay a keren? He says, Manasam b'kodesh ha'kodesh. If it was mazid, there's lashes. According to Rish Lakish, there for shogeg, you shouldn't have to pay anything. And yet you're telling me you have to pay the keren. You have to pay the principle.
But even if you say that the chomesh was carbon,
yes.
that means you're giving 2 punishments.
No, but carbon, we said maybe we did Shemayim. Carbon, I understand why we said before, it's not based in obligating it, it's from Shemayim. Well, that's the answer we gave before for the carbon side of things. It's kapara, it's not a monetary thing. But, Keren, how are you going to explain Keren then? Why should you have to pay money? We find a mission which says that Keren, paying the principal for eating truma b'shogeg is a fine. It's not a monetary thing. It's a fine. It's a knas. The Tanina, we've learned, if you eat truma b'shogeg, ein mishalem truma. What do you use to pay back for truma? You have to use chulin mesukanin. You have to use chulin fruit that trumas and maestros have already been taken from them, and they are fitting to be eaten. The henas in truma. By this donation, they become truma. Now, if you're going to tell me you would pay from Paris truma like similar to what was eaten, yos, I'd understand it's just a monetary obligation, a monetary liability. You're paying the Cohen according to the value of what you ate. But since you need to use Paris chulin to pay, which costs more than the truma that you ate, you see the tashrum is a knas, it's a fine. Because we have a klal. When you pay more than what you've damaged, it's a knas, it's a fine. And since this knas is what the Torah gave him, you have to pay it even though you're getting lashes. Because knas says with fines, we don't say you don't get 2 punishments together. A knas is a knas. It's nothing to do with lashes, right? It's not a monetary thing with lashes. It's a knas, which is a separate thing. V'tani came. Rabbi said we're still in the same sugya. Wow. V'tani came. We've also learned in a brayso. Acha truma tamea. If you ate truma tamea, b'shalem chulin tahirin. You pay chulin which is time. If shalem chulin tamei, if you use chulin which is tamei, so you fulfill your duty. They become truma tamea. But wait a minute. If I ate truma tamea, I just have to pay him some fuel, right? That's all. I only have to pay fuel. Truma tamea can't be eaten. You can just use it as fuel. So I didn't really damage a massive value here. Why should I have to pay with chulin, which is time, which is so much more expensive? This tells me shakeren knas. That principle is a fine. It's not a monetary obligation, and therefore you understand the keren you ate b'shogeg. In the b'mezid, there's lashes shogeg. You still have to pay up. Okay. There's no ending to this sugya. I think we will stop here. Okay.